And welcome to the first little session of our Young Carers Summer event. So we're really excited that you're with us. So this session is going to be fairly sort of shortish, just a bit of a sort of getting to know you, a little bit of a quiz and just something to, the biggest thing really is for you to find out a bit more about Grace, who is our young carer who's joining us for the sessions, and she's our student ambassador. So to get to know her a little bit more. So if you want to go on, that's it. So the main people who are involved in the project are myself. So I'm Helen, and I actually work at Buckinghamshire New University. So those of you that are joining us on Saturday, you'll be coming there to the university. And then we've got Jess and Gabby. So I'm what they call a project officer. So I work on the Study Hire project, and I'm particularly interested in young carers because I was a young carer when I was young, which was a long time ago for me, and I still am a carer for my mum. So Gabby, do you want to do a quick intro?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So I'm Gabby, and I am a higher education liaison officer, as it says, and I'm based in Milton Keynes area for Study Hire. And I am really happy that you guys are here to join us today, and hopefully you'll have a lovely evening.
And Jess,
Yeah. So hi everyone, I'm Jess, and I have the same role as Gabby, but I'm based in Swindon. So those of you who are coming from Swindon on Saturday or here from Swindon, you might have seen me. But yeah, just really grateful that you're all here tonight and over the next few days. It's going to be good fun.
And Campbell, I don't know if you want to say a quick word since you're there. You're going to be doing the quiz for us.
Hello, my name's Campbell. I'll be your quiz master for this evening. And that's about it really for me.
And Grace, you'll find out a lot more about Grace a bit later on, so we'll save that for a bit later. Okay, so very quickly, what is Study Hire? So Study Hire is a government-funded project. The idea is to really try and work with young people to make you know more about university and what it's like, and trying to sort of break down barriers a bit. If maybe you're unsure whether university is for you, help you get some information and feel more confident about going to university. And as I say, I'm at Bucks New University, but there's also Oxford Brookes University, the University of Oxford and Reading that are all part of the Study Hire project. Lovely. So this evening, we're going to be doing our little intro session. So we're all going to be doing a bit of questions and answers, and Grace is going to be talking a lot more about saying a bit more about herself and what she's been doing, and then we're going to have like a little quiz, and which I'm afraid there isn't a prize. It's just the feeling as if you've achieved being a winner really with the quiz. So it'll give you a chance to just go through a little short quiz at 6:30-ish. Lovely.
Brilliant. So just to set the scene, and I'm sure all of you are used to doing virtual stuff now, but just to mention that all of our sessions are going to be recorded. So if, for example, tomorrow you're not able to join one of our sessions, then you'll be able to see them after. Probably next week we'll be sending all of those out. We'll have some other special guests delivering some sessions with us, but either myself, Gabby or Helen, and the lovely Grace will be with you either virtually or in person on Saturday. As you can tell, all of your microphones and videos will remain off whenever you're doing a virtual session, but there are still lots of ways that you could be interactive with us. So on Zoom, we've got our chat function, and we're going to be launching some polls as well. So please do use those if you need to. And we also have our online group chat, and I know some of you have been using that already, which is brilliant. But we'll remind you of how to use that after today. But if you have any questions or any comments, this is for you. We want to make it as useful as it can be for you, so please just feel free to put any comments in the chat box. You should be able to see that at the bottom of your screen or the bottom of your phone, whichever one you're using. I'm also going to be doing some polls as well. So to test the chat box, please can you have a look at these optical illusions and see what you see. So this first one, what's the first image that you see? Pop that in the chat box. A man. Yep. Anything else? Anything else anybody might see? Face. Helen, what do you see when you look at this one?
Well, I think because I study psychology, I've come across quite a lot of these. So I'm getting now so that I look at them and I can see both at the same time. I think I've seen them so many times.
Yeah.
So yeah, a face, or it could be a man standing. Yeah.
It's a little boy looking away. Brilliant. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Okay, what about this next one? Okay, so what do you guys see here? Pop it in the chat. What do you see? Face. Yeah, tree the lake. A lake. Nice. Anything else?
I gotta say, this one is my favourite one.
Yeah, a couple under trees and a lake. Lots of lakes.
So romantic, isn't it?
Lovely. Gabby, what else can you see? Can you see the other image in this one?
Me, always. I can always see the baby.
Baby, yeah, that's right. There's a baby. So if you look just where the couple is standing, if you look up to the right, you should be able to see like baby's feet going into the tree.
In like a fetal position.
Yeah, like it would be. Yeah. No, that's a
Grace
great.
just got it.
I literally, with these things, I can't see anything but like what I can see until someone tells me. I'm like, oh, I see it. So like turn my head a little bit.
And then you can't unsee it once you see it.
Exactly, yeah.
That's it. So then what about this last one? What do we see here? I think this was quite a difficult one to see both.
I see like a word. Is that like lion? But like tilted a bit.
Someone said someone's staring into my soul. Yeah, it definitely feels like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
quite
I
intense.
see that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the word light.
liar.
That's
Oh.
it. Yeah, if you tilt your head.
Yeah.
Marrow glasses.
Have
Awesome.
you seen that one before?
I haven't seen that one before. It's a good one. I like it.
It's a clever one.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone. That's great. That was good. I'm glad the chat box is working. But yeah, no, cool. Over to you, Helen.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little bit of I think we're using the poll function for this, aren't we? So we're going to have like 3 statements. So we're each going to go around and there's 3 statements about each of us, and 2 of them are true and 1 of them is a lie. So for Jess, these are the 3 statements to do with Jess. So which one do you think is the lie?
So we've got, I've met Ed Sheeran, I've passed my driving test first time, and I've done a bungee jump. So put your votes in now. Which one do you think is the lie? Oh, quite a mixture of things there. So nearly all of you think that I passed my driving test first time is the lie, and you would be correct. That is the lie. Yes, I've never taken my driving test. I don't drive, so yeah, that's the lie. No, and if you want to know more about the Ed Sheeran background, feel free to ask in the chat. That's fine.
So Gabby, do you want to run through your ones?
So for me, which one is the lie? I used to play the piano. I used to live abroad, and I was in the London Paralympics. Which one do you think is a lie? Okay, so fair play. The actual answer is that the lie is that I used to live abroad. So I did used to play the piano, and I was in the Paralympics at one point. Not competing, I was helping out. I was a games maker. All right, Helen, over to you.
Okay, so which of these 3 statements? So we've got, I walked with wolves, I hated school, and I've been to Amsterdam. So which of those do you think is the lie? And I don't know, I can't see the poll answers, so how's it looking, Jess?
Yeah, everyone's voted now. There we go. Yeah. So, most people think the lie was that you hated school.
Oh, right, okay. No, that's true. Well, I didn't really like senior school. And I didn't actually do that well at sort of senior school, but I loved college and I loved university. Really, really pleased that I went to university. I really loved it. And I've also always liked studying as well, but I just, didn't get on very well at school. So the lie is that I haven't been to Amsterdam. So I'd like to go, but I've never been to Amsterdam. And I have been lucky enough to walk with some wolves. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, so I think, Grace, we're going to do yours a bit later, yeah? Oh, no, Grace, here we go. Sorry, Grace. Do you want to run through yours?
No worries. Yeah. So the first one is I've been to the theatre over 50 times. My favorite color is purple, and I have double jointed thumbs. So which one's the lie? Yeah, so I actually sent these in a while ago, so I'm hoping I remember the lie, even though like I know which one the lie is. It's weird. But I do not have double jointed thumbs as far as I know.
Brilliant. So you've been to the theatre over 50 times?
Yeah, it's kind of an addiction. It's like only really in the past like 3 years as well. It's kind of an addiction ever since I started like earning money.
Amazing.
Just booking things. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, lovely. Yeah, so just a little bit of fun just to get you to know us a bit more. So have we got any sort of questions at all? Anything?
If you've got any questions for us, but also for Grace. So as Helen mentioned at the start, we are joined by Grace, who is a student ambassador at the University of Oxford, and she's going to be with us for the next 3 days. We're very, very grateful for her giving up our time to be with us. So we've got some questions for Grace, and Grace, I'm going to hand over to you in a moment to introduce yourself. But if you do have any questions for Grace as she's talking, or if you think of anything, please do pop them in the chat, because now is your time to ask Grace any of those pressing questions, and I'm sure she'd be open to answering anything about her caring role, but also to do about university, anything like that. But if you can't think of anything right now, she will be with us over the next 3 days. So over to you, Grace.
Your question is too small. Thank you, Jess. Yeah, hey, like as everyone said, I'm Grace. I'm in my second year at Oxford right now, studying history and English. If anyone wanted to know, I'm at St. Catherine's College. No one, the college system's kind of weird. But yeah, I haven't been a young carer for a long time actually. I only became a young carer kind of April last year because my mum had a stroke, and it was just a very turbulent time. A lot of things changed very quickly. Had to adjust to a lot of things very, very quickly. And so it happened while I was at university. So in my head, I have sort of like a pre-caring, like university, like experience, and like a post-caring, which is kind of interesting because they're quite different. And yeah, it's been strange, but I'm really happy to be here to kind of share my experiences if they can help. And yeah, would love to answer any questions that anyone has.
Amazing. So yeah, we do. Thank you. So Grace, what do you do as a student ambassador?
So in terms of like this program, I'm just kind of here to debunk a lot of things about caring in university, I think, and let you all know that it's possible and that you can sort of be in a young carer role and be successful in whatever venture you choose when you leave sort of post-16 schooling. And yeah, I think it's something that isn't really talked about anywhere else, I think, apart from these programs. I think you kind of see it in some university access programs, but you don't really know what it means. Like, am I even a carer? Can I define myself as that? That was a big question on my mind for ages. So yeah, and I can also answer kind of general questions about adjusting to the university life. Yeah, anything you want to know, really.
Amazing. Thank you, Grace. We've got a couple more questions. So could you just remind us what subjects that you do? What subjects that you do?
Yeah, I do history and English together. It's sort of like a joint degree.
Amazing. I think that's really great to know that you don't have to just pick one subject. You can mix and match.
Oh, there's so many. And it's like history and English looks different in every uni as well. So it's like the course I'm doing is quite unique to Oxford. So yeah.
Definitely. Thank you, Grace. We've got another question in the chat. So do you live away from home / the person you care for? And if so, how do you balance it?
Yes, I do. So during term time, I'm at Oxford Although it's been different because of the kind of pandemic, we've had 2 terms where we've had to be at home. And so I've kind of been at home for those, but when I can, I do try and live at uni. And balancing is a very interesting word, because often you are balancing, but you don't feel like you're balancing. It's kind of like juggling, and it's like things are always up in the air. I'm quite fortunate to have 2 brothers as well who also take on the caring role. So my brothers are 25 and 27, but they're still living at home, helping out, so that when I'm at uni, they can kind of take the load. But my mom trusts me. So my mom's the person I care for, and she trusts me more with sort of like admin things, because she can't see very well, and like reading things. So sometimes she'll call me up and be like, can you fill out this form for me? Or can you sort of, do something else for me? And because of her disability, there are a lot of forms to fill out. So there is sort of still a caring responsibility at uni, and kind of making sure she's all right. And yeah, I think it's mainly letting the university know, and just kind of knowing my own limits. I think that's the key to balancing things for me, because if I have a particularly hard week with essays, I just kind of have to email my tutors or my professors, just saying, I'm so sorry, this has been like a really intense week in terms of my caring responsibilities. Can I have a bit more time? Or if like I sort of need a bit of social relief, I'll ask my friends, like, can we do something tonight? Just kind of want a chill night, feeling a bit stressed. Yeah, I guess just like listening to myself, which is kind of a skill that I've had to build up, rather than something that I inherently knew how to do before university. So it's been interesting. Yeah.
Brilliant, thanks, Grace. And I think a key thing there you mentioned was kind of letting your lecturers know that you needed that extension, or just letting people know that you need a bit of help. And that can be really hard to do, and I'm sure those who are joining us tonight perhaps feel exactly the same. And we're going to be touching a bit more about support at university tomorrow. So yeah, I think that would be really helpful. Thank you, Grace. We've got a few more questions in the chat. So why did you decide to go to Oxford?
I love the phrasing of the question, because in my head, Oxford took me. It was weird at first. I didn't really want to go, and it was actually my mum who encouraged me to go. She encouraged me to apply for a summer school that was meant to kind of debunk loads of myths about Oxford as a place, as an institution. And after, it was just visiting the summer school and just like seeing, oh wow, like the city's lovely. It's quite different to London where I live. And I think what I liked about it most of all was that it was just like a culture of like asking questions and like learning all the time, which I didn't necessarily expect from it. I thought you kind of had to know everything before you got in there. But really, I'm asking more questions than I'm ever answering. So yeah, I think I kind of, all those things put together just meant, okay, I'll try and apply and see what happens.
Amazing, thank you. How did you decide what course you wanted to do? What courses?
Yeah, this is a good one.
Mm.
So for me, so with history and English, particularly, it was mainly because I couldn't really decide between them, and I didn't want to leave either of them behind. I love them a lot at A level, but kind of particularly with this course, I kind of looked at the course breakdowns, did a bit of research on like Uni Online, and most places have like a bit where it kind of talks about modules that you might be able to take if accepted. And so I really liked the way that Oxford kind of looked at history and English together rather than just like as separate things. So we have a couple of modules on like how history informs English and vice versa, which isn't really something you get to do at A level, I don't think. So yeah, that was really interesting to me. So I decided to apply.
Awesome. I've got a few more questions in the chat. So one of them is about friends. So how did you find making friends at university? What was that like?
Yeah, it was scary. It was scary at first because it was like loads of different people from different places, and you don't know if you're gonna like have anything in common with any of them. But it's interesting because like what that does is that it puts everyone in the same boat, and so you're kind of a bit shy to ask someone like, or like say hello, or like do something, but they're kind of a bit shy as well. And so once you kind of get through that first initial sort of shyness, it's a bit easier, I'd say. I'd say things like clubs as well kind of help. If you join a club and you meet people with similar interests, or you might kind of overhear something and be like, oh, I relate to that, and kind of there's quite an open atmosphere at uni. And even the freshers, I've been really like pleasantly surprised. Even the freshers who kind of have had a year disrupted by the pandemic, so they're in the year below me, they really managed to kind of make friends despite the pandemic and despite all the disruptions. So I think that's probably a testament to how uni sort of facilitates friendship making rather than, rather than hindering it.
Definitely, yeah, I think that's really good to know. And I think knowing that you can go to uni not knowing anybody, the university put on lots of different events, and even if you're somebody who doesn't really like going to social things, there'll be a whole range of different things for you to get involved in, especially in the first few weeks at uni, I think. Yeah, awesome. We've got another question. So what are your plans for the future? What do you hope to do after you finish uni?
Yeah, this is I feel like as soon as you start second year, this is like a question that kind of everyone hits you with, like, oh, so what's happening now after the degree? I know a lot of people who don't know, and I think it's fine not to know necessarily. I feel like I know a little bit. I have like the sort of umbrella term of like theatre, like working in theatre. Like, I mean, I go so much that I'm kind of like, it'll be great if this was my life. I think more specifically sort of like theatre education. So like looking at how sort of drama and creativity and like the arts can help young people and sort of like find out what they want in life or just grow confidence or little things like that. Because I've done a bit of volunteering about that already. But that really did not come like as some sort of like big realization. It came from, applying to loads of internships online. Not all of them that I even got on, like was accepted to in the first place. It took talking to the people around me and just kind of like feeling, like reading the room, like reading my own mind, thinking about a combination of things. And then I just thought, what do I actually like to do most of the time? Like even the admin. And it kind of came to that conclusion, and it can change. But yeah, that's what it is right now.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and the key thing there, you said it can change, and that's okay. It's okay if it changes. Awesome, thanks, Grace. I've got another question. Does being a young carer make you like you have to help people a lot? Do you have to help people a lot during your caring role?
And so do you mean like just people in general, or like people that or like my mum basically, who I'm kind of caring for?
Yeah, I think so. If who put this question in the chat, if you wouldn't mind just adding a little bit more. But they said, yeah, does being a carer make you feel like you have to help people a lot?
I feel like, yes. Oh, okay. Well, that's a really good question, actually. I think being like a young carer has kind of made me, because in my head, like the word young, like the phrase young carer is strange, because in my head it still doesn't necessarily like apply to me. I feel like I still have to sort of, like realize that, that's fine. But I think it gives me like a natural like intuition sometimes. I think I've kind of developed that skill to kind of know what people's needs are. I like looking after people, but it's not necessarily something I feel like I have to do. Yeah, I think I'd say that it's nice to like look after your friends, or someone needs help and it's within my capacity, then I'll try, but I don't necessarily feel like I have to.
And perhaps you've developed some different types of skills as well, having to take that on and having to adapt. And I think skills with young carers is definitely something we're going to touch upon over the next 3 days as well. So that's a really, really good question. Thank you for popping that in there.
Thank you very much.
We've got a few more minutes of Q&A with Grace. So if you've got any other questions, please do pop them in the chat. But I'm going to ask in the meantime, Grace, what do you enjoy the most about being at university?
Oh,
Sorry,
no. I love it's just because there are so many things that it's like choosing between them. I think uni is great because it's a real time to like explore yourself, and like it's strange because I feel like at school everything feels kind of regimented sometimes, and you don't feel like you kind of have the freedom to even think about what you want. You kind of get the homework and you do it, and you're already thinking about next steps, like, oh, what am I doing after this? But at uni, like when you're not doing work, you can kind of like go to societies and clubs and like meet people, and you might not like you might be able to stay out a bit later because you're not living at home, or you might be able to like see what kind of food you like because you're cooking for yourself, all sorts of different things, like, or just a lot of little things put together that mean you actually get to discover your personality a bit more. sometimes you surprise yourself. But yeah, it's really nice to kind of have the freedom to do that at uni. That's why I love that.
Brilliant, amazing. Thank you, Grace. Oh, a couple more questions have come in. Amazing. So someone's asked, did you ever go to college? Or which way did you go into university? So did you go sixth form, then college? Like how did you get to uni?
Yeah. So I did go to sixth form, yeah. And I did 3 A levels and just kind of applied kind of in the most conventional way to do it. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, so I guess after year 11 you have the option to go to college, sixth form, an apprenticeship, and yeah, university is typically when you're 18 after that. So yeah, that's helpful to know. Thank you, Grace. I've got another question. How do you plan your time management between your student ambassador role, university work, personal downtime, caring? It's quite a lot there to manage.
No, yeah, it is. And sometimes when you list it like that, it's like, whoa, that is it, isn't it? Like, but I think it's sometimes it's a bit hard to plan. For example, especially with caring, like sometimes I'm not sure like when my mum might call me or when I might need to kind of pop home for a weekend, because I don't live too, because London isn't that far from Oxford, so I'm quite fortunate that I can kind of go if I'm needed. So I kind of, you know, a bit of flexibility is needed, but in general, uni work I can kind of control a lot more. And so, you know, if I know I can get things done sort of in the morning, wake up early. I'm a big fan of waking up early, even though I'm not always successful at it. I think it's really good to like have more of the day, just to do things. And so yeah, I think waking up early really helps me. With uni work as well, yeah, I like to do that kind of in the morning or do a lot as much in the holidays as I can. And like social time also can be a little hard to plan because someone might just kind of knock on your door and be like, hey, let's do something. And like sometimes it's nice to be spontaneous, but really it's just about like knowing my own limits. I love kind of making kind of to-do lists on my phone and knowing which one I should be prioritizing when. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. It's like basically other people are different. Some people don't like lists because they make them feel overwhelmed. But I personally like kind of like knowing exactly what I need to do when, even if I'm not going to do it immediately, just so I'm like aware of anything that I'm letting slip. Yeah, I think that would be it for me.
Yeah, and just I guess knowing what works for you as well. Like for me, I have to have a reward if I'm doing something, whether that's watching something on Netflix or eating the chocolate that I've saved in the fridge. Like if I know I have to do something, I like to reward myself afterwards. So yeah,
definitely. And sometimes like social time can be a nice reward as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Awesome, cool. We've got another question. So if anybody else has got any more questions, now is the time to pop them in the chat. But this question, Grace, is there much of a difference between sixth form and uni?
I think socially, not as much. Like think of like sixth form, but you just have more time with them and you might live with them as well. and like it's just really nice. I think in terms of academic work, I know Oxford is a bit different because the terms are much shorter. We only have 8 weeks, and we tend to get a lot of like essays set in the term. So that is quite different because I don't have a lot of contact hours, and so I might have like 1 to 2 hours a week with my like lecturers or professors, and the rest of the time I just kind of have to spend writing the essays, and you don't really get as much hand holding as you do at A-level equivalent. So while you kind of, your teacher gives you sort of like, you know, the textbook and what to read and when, you might just kind of get a reading list and you might not know much about the subject, but you have to sort of write the essay anyway. And I think that it's quite nice to kind of get used to that, to get used to not knowing things straight away. I think that's something that I'm really happy that I've learned, that I don't need to know things straight away necessarily. But yeah, I think it is a bit different. It is a bit of an adjustment in terms of academic stuff. And to be honest, even with social stuff, like living with your friends or like kind of living close to your friends in kind of the university capacity is interesting, because you don't necessarily get that at sixth form. It's nicer though. I quite like it.
Like it. Amazing, thank you, Grace. And if nobody else has any more questions, I'll make this our last one. But how did you become a student ambassador?
Oh, great question, thank you. For me, it was quite straightforward. So I'm quite into like access work, especially at Oxford, because we just want more people from diverse backgrounds applying, really. So I applied to be like a university ambassador, like just for the university generally, and they can kind of ask you to do certain things and like certain events would be an ambassador. And then for this event specifically, though, like for study hire, that kind of came through that. So I kind of applied because I'm interested in access generally, and then I was accepted, quite thankfully. So that was it.
Thanks, Grace. And yeah, being a student ambassador at university is a really great way to have a job, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Grace gets paid as her ambassador role, although I'm sure she would give up her time voluntarily anyway, just because she's a lovely person. But yeah, student ambassadors get paid to represent the university at different events and things. So so if you are thinking about going to uni and you're worried about maybe balancing a part-time job outside of uni with your caring role and your studying, I think being a student ambassador is a great option to earn some money while you're at uni.
100%. It's really nice. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Grace. We had some great questions there. Helen, did you have any others, or should we move on to the quiz?
No, I think no, I hadn't got any questions. I'd just reiterate what you were saying about being a student ambassador. I think it is a fantastic way to be able to do some flexible work, and especially if you're interested in marketing and recruit, stuff like that. It's really good as well. And it depending on what you want to do, sometimes you can get really involved in doing presentations and lots of stuff. So most universities have student ambassador schemes.
And sorry, just before we move on, I will just add, Grace is going to be with us for the rest of the next 3 days. So if you do have more questions, feel free to either email us or use the tap function, or just as we are online through our sessions, when there's a bit of downtime, feel free to just let us know. We can ask Grace as many questions as you possibly can. Thank you.
Please do. I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that the link to our online group chat as well in the chat, but we'll email that out to you as well. So yeah, if you do think of anything in between, please do pop them in there. Thanks, Gabby. Awesome, cool. Helen, I think we're back to you.
Yes, yeah. So so as Jess mentioned about the TAP group, if you haven't already, do sign up for that, and because we want these sessions to be about you, perhaps getting a bit of support from us, but also hopefully from others as well, asking some questions and getting involved. So it'd be nice if you can sign up for the TAP. So I just wanted to run through what's happening tomorrow. So we've got a session at 2:30. So we've got one of the lecturers at Bucks New University. She's going to do a session doing marketing and, talking about how maybe society and social change is sort of impact on how businesses need to market things and how businesses need to think about what they're doing. So that's quite an interesting session. And then we've got Poppy, who's she actually does the fashion and textiles course, and she's looking at sustainability. So, that's a real big issue now within fashion. Fashion is actually one of the most polluting industries there is, which people don't always think about. So she's doing a session really talking about how a lot of people are thinking, how can it be more sustainable? How can you sort of minimize pollution? And also talk about how some of her students have actually gone on and got roles where they've been working on that. And then we're going to have a little break. And then I'm going to be doing a session of 4 o'clock where we're talking a bit about student support. I know some of you might be a bit anxious about, well, if I go to university, what is it going to be like? What's that first week at university going to be like? Will I meet friends? That sort of thing. So we're going to talk a bit about that, and Grace is going to be joining us again. So it'll be another chance for you to ask Grace some questions. She's happy with that. And just find out a little bit more about what is it really like at university? What is university life like? How can you settle in? And then we've got a virtual theatre night, which you should get a link about, which is going to be a improvised comedy. And again, it'd be nice if you can on TAP, if sign up to TAP and maybe have a little bit of a chat to each other about what you think of it, what the comedy was like and whether you thought it was good or bad or not. See, that'd be good. And then on Saturday, those of you that are coming along to the on-campus event, so we're going to be starting at 9:45. So if you can arrive, so the actual campus will be closed initially when you arrive, because it's a Saturday. So if you sort of just stand outside in the sort of pedestrianised area over by where the reception is, and then we'll come. So we've got another student ambassador joining us for on Saturday as well, called Michelle, and she'll be coming over and finding you and bringing you over to where we're going to be doing the sessions. So we've got a welcome, then we're going to have like an illustration workshop, so you can have a chance of doing some illustration, and then have a break. Then we've got an activity that's getting you to think a lot about what skills and qualities you've got, and maybe especially thinking about as a carer, you know, what skills and qualities have you got as a carer? How can that help you settle into university? Then unfortunately Grace can't be with us physically, but she's going to be with us virtually, yes. And so she's going to be beamed in onto a huge screen, and it'll be another chance to have a chat to her, and she's going to maybe talk a bit more specifically about being a young carer at university and stuff like that. It'd be great. And then we're going to have a bit of a tour of the campus and have some lunch, and I think we're ordering pizza in for lunch. And then Michelle's going to be running the nursing taster for us, and then Jess is going to be doing a session on sort of next steps and action planning. So I know you're all sort of got different interests, different ideas, but what we wanted to do is sort of put together a program that maybe just gives you a feel of what different things you could study at university, practical subjects, you know, caring sort of roles and different things. So just hope to give you a flavour of what it is like at university and what university has got to offer. Okay, lovely. So we're going to hand over to Campbell. Campbell, are you going to try and put a Google form in, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm going to send a Google form on the chat. So it should be with you now. And that's going to be like your answer sheet for the quiz. So I'm going to read the questions from my iPad here, and then just type in your answers on the Google form. And then when you get to the end of the quiz, just press submit, and then all your answers will magically come to me. And then I'll try and work out who our winner is for today. So I'll give you a couple of settings just to click over the form, and then it says like insert your name. If you want to make like a cringy but funny team name, then go for it. I'm not picky. So I'll give you a couple more seconds and then we'll get started. So there's 5 rounds, and each round has 5 questions. If you don't know the answer, you'll have to put something in, otherwise it won't let you continue. So just put don't know or question mark, anything like that, or just have a guess, because you never know, you might be right. So let's get started then. So the first round is general knowledge, and question 1, I'll try and hold back the tears for this one, but which country won the Euros 2020 football tournament? Which country won the Euros 2020 football tournament? What an emotional Sunday night that was, everyone. But yeah, which country won the Euros? Number 2, what element does the letter O represent on the periodic table? So what element does the letter O represent on the periodic table? Number 3, what is the name of the world's tallest mountain? What is the name of the world's tallest mountain? Okay, that's the easy one's gone. Number 4, how many letters are there in the word hippopotamus? How many letters are there in the word hippopotamus? And I'll give you a bonus point if you can spell it correctly. So if you write down your number of letters, then next to that, write the word hippopotamus. So you could potentially get 2 marks in that one, if you can spell it. I'm not going to lie, I couldn't spell the word hippopotamus until I wrote the questions to this quiz. So even I learned something. And then number 5, last one in general knowledge, is what is the name of the river that flows through Egypt? What is the name of the river that flows through Egypt? Okie dokie. We'll now go on to round 2, which is food and drink. So number 1, I don't know if you noticed, but in each round, the first 3 are pretty easy, and then it gets more difficult. The first one is which fast food restaurant can you find a Big Mac? Oh, it's a tough one there. Which fast food restaurant can you find a Big Mac? I don't like Big Macs, just a little side note there. Number 2, other than water, what is the world's most consumed drink? So other than water, what is the world's most consumed drink? Number 3, how many seeds does an avocado have? How many seeds does an avocado have? I've not tapped into the avocado craze yet. I've still never had one. Does anyone recommend?
No, Campbell, you've never had an avocado.
I don't think you've
Well.
touched an avocado. I've never held one.
You know?
I do know how many seeds they have.
You're missing out. You're missing out, mate. Seriously.
Never had like avocado.
Alright.
Well, avocado toast is like a millennial.
Highly
thing.
recommend.
It is the best, right? Avocado on
I'll
toast.
give it a go. And if it's not the best, Gabby, you'll be getting an email from me.
But hang on a second. Jess said first that it was the best. I just
Yes, that's true. That's true. You're just joining in.
I just love that you said you've never even held one.
Never held one. Never held avocado. I'll go hold one later if you want. That's how wild my evenings get. Number 4 then. Which country invented tomato ketchup? Which country invented tomato ketchup? And number 5, this one could hit a nerve. So Jaffa cakes, okay, legally, are they cakes or biscuits? All right. Apparently this went to court, okay, the debate on this. But is it a cake or is it a biscuit? Yep. Round 3 then is film and TV. So number 1, what is the name of the double act that hosts I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here? What is the name of the double act that hosts I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here? Number 2, in the Avengers, which superhero uses a hammer? Which superhero uses a hammer? And number 3, what platform do you need in order to board the Hogwarts Express? So what platform do you need to get to in order to board the Hogwarts Express? Number 4, in the movie Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, what is the name of the only dwarf that does not speak? He's also the only dwarf that doesn't have a beard. There we go. Which dwarf from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is the only one that doesn't have a beard and he doesn't speak? So what's their name? And number 5, the last one in film and TV, according to the movie The Lion King, what does Hakuna Matata mean? What does Hakuna Matata mean? Yeah, they're all fairly easy ones, I'd say. So pop them in. Then we'll go to round 4, which is history. Okay, number 1, which king had 6 wives? So which famous king had 6 wives? There's a musical about this, if that helps. I saw it the other month. It's all right. If you like that sort of thing.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
I'm hoping to see it in the next few weeks.
Oh, enjoy.
I can't even say what it's called because it will give the answer away.
You can't say what it's called. I don't know if it's called 4.
No, of course you can. You can, by all means, feel free to say what it is.
Oh yeah, which king had? Yeah. Anyway, number 2. What year did England win the World Cup? So there's your second and final football-related question, which is what year did England win the World Cup? It's only happened once. Surprise, surprise. But what year did England win the World Cup? Number 3. Which country gifted the Statue of Liberty to the USA? Which country gifted the Statue of Liberty to the USA? Number 4. What is the name of the first person to step foot on the moon? What is the name of the first person to step foot on the moon? I need both names for 1 point. If you give me one name, you get half a point. So there's a little deal there for you. So what's the name of the first person to step foot on the moon? Half point for either name, full point for the whole name. And number 5, last one in history. This is pretty easy. What is the name of the ship that hit an iceberg, causing it to sink? What is the name of the ship that hit an iceberg, causing it to sink? And if it's happened to more than one ship, I'm asking about the ship in the year 1912. Okay, so that ship, the one with the film. All right, you know, I'm not going to sing the song. I know you want me to. And then that takes us to round 5. Now this one, I don't think I need to say any questions. You should hopefully be able to see 5 flags in front of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I'd like you to do is to write down the country that the flags represent. And also for a bonus point on each, write down the capital city. So for example, if there's a picture of an English flag there, you'd write down England, and then next to it, you'd write London. So there should be 5 flags there. Write down the country and the capital city. Once you've done that, just hit enter or hit submit, whatever the button says, and then I'll disappear, get marking, and then come back with some kind of leaderboard. So best of luck, everyone. Yeah, I'll disappear and get marking.
Thanks, Campbell. I don't know. While we wait for Campbell to come back, I don't know if Grace, if you're happy, do we want to maybe have a few more little questions to Grace?
Yeah,
And
certainly.
what she's thinking about university. I think I've got a bit of a question, which is sort of what do you do with your summers? Because obviously when you're at university, you have quite much longer summer holidays. So I know it's been a bit of a sort of odd year last year as well, wasn't it? But what do you do with your summer holidays when you're at university?
I really like to pack my summers full, just because I think, I don't know, I'm a bit older now, so there's a bit more things I can do. I think so. Obviously, yeah, as you said, Helen, last year was a bit thwarted. Although towards the end we had a bit of freedom. So I kind of just like to see my friends from home, because I think because most of my friends I think are at university, or if they're not, I don't really get to see them during term time. So it's actually quite nice to kind of reconnect and catch up a bit. Kind of doing volunteering things or kind of paid kind of positions like this is really nice. Maybe like a little part-time job. There's a charity that I volunteer with whenever I can, called Mousetrap Theatre Projects. So I sort of kind of be like, oh, is there anything going this summer? Can I and I start kind of organizing that towards the end of term. Other than that, I think some people kind of like to plan holidays. I haven't been in like on holiday while at uni, so but I would love to do that this summer if possible, even if it's just in England or the UK. Just kind of little things like that, just things to really just help me relax. And yeah, because they are much longer, so it's weird because like you have this wide expanse, and then by the end you kind of you're like, oh, I might have overpacked it now. When am I going to rest and just kind of watch a TV show and have some downtime as well? So you've got to balance it, I think.
Okay. And would you say that Oxford University, was it as you expected? What was the sort of most unexpected thing about going to Oxford University, do you say?
I think the most unexpected thing for me, I don't know if this fully answers the question, but like how like different everyone's experience can be depending on like, for example, like which college you go to. So it's like in a way there's like Oxford is sort of the institution, but no one kind of goes to Oxford. Everyone goes to like a college that's like under Oxford. And so I go to St. Catherine's, and so my experience will be quite different to someone who, for example, goes to like Trinity College, which is one of the more famous ones. And so yeah, it's kind of like hearing other people and like hearing what their schedules are like, and hearing kind of, the kind of people they have around them. It's quite interesting. So I'm like, oh, okay, if I'd been to a different college, what would my life be like? But in terms of like just encountering Oxford as an institution, or like as a place of learning, I think the thing that surprised me most was how many people I found like who I could relate to, kind of from a similar background to me, sort of like lived in London. Some of them for kind of like low income like households as well. And then it was kind of like people who are like really easy to talk to, but like also people who I come across who are like very different from me, who I could still kind of get along with as well. So it's I feel like I've answered your question in like three different parts there. But yeah, a lot surprised me about Oxford. I was a lot of it pleasantly surprised. I just kind of I can function there, kind of being myself, and the world didn't end. So yeah.
No, that's lovely that you've had that experience, because a lot of people might be put off going somewhere like Oxford because they'll think they might not fit in, or everyone's going to be different from me or have different backgrounds. So it's nice that you feel that you have been able to get on with people.
Thank you. And I think there is definitely a lot of work still to be done with university, but I think that's kind of why I applied to be sort of an ambassador, especially for the university, because I would hate for anyone to be put off, especially kind of like similar backgrounds to me, just because they don't think they'll fit in. Like it would be so sad to kind of deny themselves of the amazing things that Oxford can give, just because of that,
Yeah. So sort of coming from maybe a background where you weren't so used to Oxford, did you find sort of researching college? Did you research college, or did you just do like an open application so that they select the college?
Yeah, I spent like a night. I was kind of a nerd of it, and I like sat down the prospectus back when it was like a physical book. I think it's all online now. It was a physical book, and I turned to like there was like a page where it had like all the colleges and like all their assets, like the little things that they had that made them different from the others. So for me, I knew that I wanted a college like a theatre, preferably, because not all of them do. I think some of them have gyms, but not all of them. Different things like with St. Catherine's, they ideally they give you a place like to live, accommodation within the college for all 3 years of your course, or at least 3 years of the course. Whereas some colleges, you're only allowed to live in college for 1 year. So I didn't really want the hassle of trying to find a house. So I was kind of like, okay, cool. If I can live in college, that would be preferable. And so yeah, just kind of like little things like that made me apply to CATS. And also because I went on the summer school, we did like a little tour of CATS. Like CATS is what we call St. Catherine's College. Did a little tour of it, and I just loved it. The vibe's really good. It doesn't really look like Oxford. It's quite modern, like it was built in the 60s, which I quite liked. And yeah, I just thought it was beautiful. So I decided to apply there. But I think the thing about applying to a certain college is that you might kind of, the interview system's interesting. So you might not actually end up, if accepted, at the same college that you applied to. So it's like, like, do you get attached to a college before, or do you kind of like see where you end up and then get attached then? It's a different question, but yeah, that's kind of how I chose.
Lovely, thanks. I don't know if anyone has got any other questions and they wanted to sort of put it into chat, if you've got any questions for Grace, or any questions for us either, you know, just generally about university and whatever.
Studying, yeah. I have a question for you, Grace, but it's not university related.
Oh, sure.
I was just going to say, because I know you said on a Two Truths, One Lie that you've been to the theatre a lot of times.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do you have, I'm going to put you on the spot, but have you got a favourite show?
No. Saw it coming even before you said it. No.
Top three.
I have ones that I like sort of like for different purposes. That's my cop-out answer.
Nice.
Like for example, something like Les Mis is just like a classic. Like if you want to cry, you know, you put on the soundtrack, you just do a bit of crying. Or like for example Hamilton, just because like I love the history and I think it's really intelligently written and just really good. But I love The Color Purple. Like it's my favorite color, but it's also one of my favorite musicals. Just because I've watched it so many times and I just love it. Like I've read the book and it's amazing. So yeah, it's like I've given 3 for the price of 1 there.
Nice,
Have you
thank
seen
you.
Lion King though, Grace?
I haven't seen Lion King.
Wow, that's a game changer. I feel like when
Really?
you have, then if we ask the question again, that'll be the first one.
I have my fingers crossed for this summer. I really hope so.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I actually had a question for the. Oh, sorry. Don't worry.
No, you go, Grace. You go.
I actually had a question for Jess, Gabby, or Helen. Actually, what have you found that from kind of your years working with young people? What are people like? What do you find kind of common apprehensions that people have, or that people kind of concerned about?
But if I'll just say it quickly. From my experience, there's a lot of young people who don't believe that they can achieve something that they're more than capable of, and sometimes just having certain conversations and just sort of showing them the way, like it's somewhat similar to what we're doing now. So having someone to sort of have done that experience or know something familiar, you know, gives them a bit more confidence to actually say, yeah, I can. But you know, anybody can do anything that they want to do. It doesn't matter what route you want to take. It is just about just taking that first initial step and saying, yeah, okay, I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't work out, then you just go a different route. I've had that in my own personal experiences. So, you know, there is still options out there, even if you don't believe that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really powerful.
Yeah, I would echo that, Gabby. And I think a lot of young people that we support feel like university or even going into employment or something just isn't within their reach, and that perhaps they feel like they don't really have a choice of what they want to do, or what they can do. So I think like what Gabby was saying is just keeping your options open and just knowing that you can change your mind. Like it's okay. It's okay to change your mind. And just knowing that there's support out there as well, I think, to help you get wherever it is that you want to go. Yeah, that's I think this year in particular with COVID and the pandemic, I think it's made a lot of people rethink what they want to do in the future. And those of you that are with us tonight, you might be thinking different things now because of what's happened over the pandemic, but it's just knowing that, yeah, you can change your mind if you want to. So I see that Campbell is back with us, but Helen.
Yes. Do you want me to quickly answer? I think sort of not quite answering the question. I think people do, yeah, like you said before, they're worried. But I think something that strikes me a bit as well that I've worked over the years is sometimes people make a decision a bit early, and I know perhaps that's the fault of schools, and I'm a careers advisor, so a lot of it is talking about careers, and maybe it sort of makes people feel pressurized to make a decision. But I think sometimes people decide a bit too early what they want to do, and then they start ruling things out. And until you've experienced something, you don't actually know what it would involve. So I think sometimes when you're young, you don't want to start ruling out things and thinking, oh, that's not for me, or I don't think I'd want to do that, when you've actually not really tried it or experienced it. So I would say, yes, have your plans, have your ideas, but do also keep an open mind and sort of try different things out. Don't try and sort of narrow things down too early. Is what I've often noticed or thought. So Campbell, are you ready? Have you got the results?
I have. So I'll do a quick recap of all the questions to give you the answers. So the first round was general knowledge. Question 1, so it was Italy was the answer who won the Euros. We'll say nothing more on that. What element does O represent on the periodic table? It is oxygen. Number 3, what is the world's tallest mountain? It is Mount Everest. Number 4, how many letters are in the word hippopotamus? There are 12, and it's spelt, hang on, HIPPOPOTAMUS. Well done to those that got that. Number 5, what is the name of the river that flows through Egypt? It is the River Nile. Then we had the food and drink round. So we had, what is the name of the fast food restaurant where you find a Big Mac? That is McDonald's. Number 2, other than water, what is the world's most consumed drink? It is tea. Number 3, how many seeds or pips, as someone corrected me, does an avocado have? It has 1. And number 4, which country invented tomato ketchup? No one got this one, believe it or not. It was actually invented in China. And number 5, are Jaffa cakes legally a cake or a biscuit? The court says cake. So there we go. Round 3, then film and TV. It is Anton Deck who hosts I'm a Celeb, Get Me Out of Here. Thor is the superhero with the hammer, although as someone else corrected me, Captain America does hold on to it at the end of one of the films. Number 3, what is the platform number that you can board the Hogwarts Express? It is 9 3/4. Number 4, the name of the dwarf from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs that doesn't speak is called Dopey. And according to the Lion King, what does Hakuna Matata mean? It means no worries for the rest of your days, but I accepted no worries. It's really hard not to burst into song after saying just that line. I've managed. Round 4, which is history, is which king had 6 wives? It is Henry VIII. Number 2, what year did England win the World Cup? They won in 1966. Number 3, which country gifted the Statue of Liberty to the USA? It was France. Number 4, who was the first person on the moon? It was Neil Armstrong. And number 5, it was the Titanic that hit the ice and sank. We had the flags. I can't show you them, but the first one was the USA, but I accepted America because I'm feeling nice. And the capital city is Washington, D.C. Number 2, it's not Australia, believe it or not, it is New Zealand. And the capital of New Zealand is Wellington. And for those who did put Australia, the capital is Canberra, not Sydney. Number 3 was Jamaica, and the capital of Jamaica is Kingston. Number 4 was France, and the capital of France is Paris. And number 5, I think one person got the country, so well done. I can't remember who it was. That is the flag of India, and the capital of India is New Delhi. So I'll tell you the top 3, then I'll put the whole list of scores in our group chat. So in third place, their team name was Dakota, and they got 20 points. Round of applause. In second place, now it sounds like I'm just saying it's me that won in second place, but it's not. Their team name was It's Me. So whoever It's Me is, and it's not me, well done. You got 22 points. So well done, It's Me that isn't me. And in first place, with a whopping 25 points, is Jess. So well done, Jess. You topped the leaderboard there.
Well done, Jeff.
And that's it for the
Oh,
quiz.
congrats.
Amazing, amazing. What some great team names, much more original than me. Amazing. Thank you so much, Campbell. That was great. Not just because I won. They just it was
Thank you very much, Campbell, for putting that together. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Jess, were you going to run through the last little bits, or
yeah, I can do. Yeah, no, just like Helen was saying, just thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here tonight. Keep an eye on your emails because we'll be sending you reminders about the next few days. And if you have any questions, either for us or for Grace or about the sessions, please use our group chat. Or you can email us. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been great to have you here. We've got some great taster sessions tomorrow. Yeah, look forward to seeing you then.
Yeah, and please do join us for the taster sessions, because some lecturers are giving up their time to run them for us. So please do join us, and please do also get involved in the TAP, the Access platform, if you haven't already. If you can register for that, and then you can have a little chat to each other. So you don't, it's sort of anonymous, isn't it? You don't have to put your name in if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But at least you can sort of chat to other people in the group and that, especially if you come into on to Saturday, because you might want to have a little chat with someone before you come.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, and we hope that you can join us tomorrow.
Lovely. We've got some thank yous in the chat. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to Grace.
Thank you so much for having me.
Amazing. Brilliant. Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you,
Tomorrow,
Cameron.
lovely. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Mm.